Hey guys, what's up? I'm David and this is Whitespace. Welcome to week 3 of my Designber series. Last week I redesigned the Tim Hortons Double Double Visa card, and the week before that I redesigned the Developer T podcast website. So if you haven't seen those videos yet, you can go check them out on my channel. This week I decided to redesign the myUNB portal. If you don't know what the myUNB portal is, it's a web application used by students and faculty members of the University of New Brunswick, and it acts as a central location to access various online services offered by the university. So in this video, we're going to go over the current myUNB portal and critique it, and then in the next video, I'll do the design. So this is what the myUNB portal currently looks like. I'm just going to give you a run through of all the different features in it and tell you basically what my critiques are of the current design. So up here you have notifications, alerts, and cancellations. Notifications, all I've seen it used for is giving exam details. Right now it's exam season, so you have all my exam details up there. Alerts just tells you stuff that you need to know as a UNB student, like winter parking enforcement is commencing December 1st. That's one that's up there right now. And basically I think notifications and alerts could be the same thing. Same with cancellations. I think like those three could be displayed more uniformly, or in a way where there's a bit of a hierarchy, like notifications are less important than alerts, and cancellations are probably the most important thing you need to know. So I think notifications and alerts could be one thing together. They're basically the same thing. And then cancellations is a bit more important because you would want to know if your courses are canceled. Then we have news below that. So one major problem I have with the news design right now is that when you click on an article, it takes you to a brief description of, or like the start of the article, so you can read like the first sentence of it, and then you have to click continue reading to go and read more about the article. So the problem I have with this is that you have to do 2 clicks to even get to the full article, and I don't think anyone really uses this news panel at all. So I think by reducing the amount of clicks you have to make to get to the actual article, I think people will use it more, and the news will just be a bit more, like if you just glance at the title, you don't really get much about what the article's about, but maybe if you saw the title and then like started just casually reading a few sentences into it, then you might actually like the article more, and then you might actually read the whole thing. Below that you have events, and that's pretty much exactly the same layout as the news above. You have to click once to see a few event details, and then you have to click more details to go to the full details of the event to find out the room number and stuff. So again, that's way too many clicks for people who are uninterested in the content, and generally students will be uninterested in this content. So you want to make that as easy as possible to be able to access the information. Otherwise, people just aren't going to pay attention to it. Then below that you have the myUNB poll, and the poll is pretty straightforward. There's not much that you can do with a poll other than change the general look and feel of it. I think it has a good layout right now. You have your question up here at the top, then you have all your different options, and then a vote button. It's pretty straightforward. Over here on the far side of the page, you have the UNB Twitter and UNB Facebook feeds. I'm not a big fan of this, but I'm going to keep it in. I think I'm going to keep it in the design anyway, just because there is a lot of news that gets put there that's not in the news tab, and I think it's a relevant feature. Whether or not people use it or not is another thing, but I think it's definitely something that could be used if it was displayed properly, and so I'm going to try to make that possible. So down here we have my week and my to-do, and basically all the my week is your class schedule, which you can access in a better way than this my week panel that you have, and I'm going to get into that a bit later when I show you the launch menu. So my week just basically has your class schedule on it, and it also has your exam schedule. And then my to-do, it's basically a to-do list, but I haven't seen anyone use it. I've never used it myself, so it's an irrelevant feature. So these two features together, I don't think anyone really uses them that much. So I think it's just a waste of space to have on the main page, if even have it at all. So I'm probably going to get rid of that, those two panels in my design altogether. So the launch menu here, this is actually the most important part of myUNB portal, because it's what links you to all the external services for UNB. And like you have the UNB libraries, so you can browse for books online. D2L, that's Desire to Learn, and that's our learning management system that has all the course content and everything on it. E-services, that's where we look at our marks, our final grades and stuff. Cascade, I have access to Cascade, but most students don't. I have access to it because I have privileges to update the UNB website, and Cascades, that's what Cascades used for, is to manage content on the official UNB website. Then check my class schedule. So down here, my week and check my class schedule, basically those two are the exact same thing, but I personally, and what I've seen other students do, is everyone just uses the check my class schedule, and I think it's because this has a much better interface for seeing what your class schedule is. It just displays it out graphically rather than in a list of like daily courses. Like this has a much better representation of what your day and what your week is looking like. It also has all this information down here, so like this is a pretty important part and pretty useful part of the myUNB portal. It's not really part of it. It's this is actually part of e-services. You can see at the top the URL is es.unb.ca rather than my.unb.ca. So it's not actually part of it, it just links to it, but that's what people generally use. And so this is one of the major problems with the launch menu, is that there are two pages, and the second page is basically, from what I can see, it's mostly dedicated to scheduling courses. And page 1 is basically not that useful, or page 2 is basically not that useful. And then there's also like redundant links, like check my class schedule there, and then class schedule here. And then there's register for classes. Then there's also select courses and register / drop selected courses. So there's not really that there's not really a point to have both of them there. So I think in my design I'm going to try to pare that down to one page so people don't have to go to the second page. I don't think people go to the second page anyway, because you can access register for courses from the first page. So it's really useless to have the second page. Other than that, with the launch menu, there's no real categorization of what these are. Like there's some services, some external services, then there's some information about your courses, and then there's stuff about your UNB account. So, but it's all kind of jumbled in there, and if you're looking for some specific features, it's really hard to like parse through this long list of items to find what you're looking for. So I think in my design I'm going to try to make that a bit more categorized and make it easier to find specific features and easier to know what each specific feature does, because a lot of these things like UNB bookings, virtual lab, access manager, a lot of these features most people don't even know what they are. So I think if there was a categorization, it would kind of give context to what these features do, and what you can use them for. So that's basically what I'm going to try to tackle in my design of this, and also make this launch menu a bit more pronounced, because it's pretty far down the page and it's probably the most important part of the website. So like, I want to eliminate the scrolling that you have to do to get to what you're looking for. That's probably going to be static on the side here, rather than just another panel with the same visual hierarchy as everything else. I think it deserves more emphasis than it's currently getting. So that's basically what I'm going to try to tackle in my design, and hopefully it works out. Well guys, that's it for the critique. If you happen to use myUNB yourself, let me know what issues you personally have with the current design, and in the next video we'll get into the redesign, and you can check that out right here. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.